Hey, welcome back, guys. To get a video out this week, all I had was to go over what it took me to assemble the front nose gear. So if you're interested in decisions I made about that and what I ran into and how I did it, stick around. It is laid out really well as far as what to do with this puck system. I know we have the option of the Viking spring and all, and everybody's got their own preferences of what they're going to do with that and why. I do like the idea that it has more travel, but from what I've learned about how this is set up to the rudder pedals, no matter what I do, it's going to move them quite a bit when it moves up and down. That's just inherent in the design. The other thing is this will only move a little bit. So I imagine that would help reduce that. So it's a trade-off. Do you want to have a lot of nice plush suspension, or do you want to move your cables in and out quite a bit? I haven't figured out a way to stop that from happening yet, unless there's a way to put some kind of bungees in the back like they did on the other lines. But the biggest thing with this was once I got done putting my foam in and started researching and I had it all painted up, you really should, I did assemble it with the paint on, and then I unassembled it. And it really was mucking it up with the silicone grease that I found out from you guys to use. And so I ended up taping this off here, scraping all the paint off, and down here where the bearings go. And that works so much better. But the big thing is to have this preloaded. So what I did is I pushed everything up as far as I could. I clamped this to this so that it wouldn't move up and down, and went ahead and loosened this one after this one was tight, put screwdrivers on each side and pushed it up. So I've got a preload on here now, and the whole idea of that is this puck is V'd out, so it has a cradle where that sits. And the whole idea, I believe, is so that when you let off your rudder in the air, it will self-return to center. And I've got it at this point, if you want to see once I push on here, I've got it lubricated up enough where it kind of comes back. I seen Roger had said in a video where he was showing the front turn to really sand this out and make sure that it wasn't grabby at all. And I did do that. In my first assembly, that definitely grabbed too much. There was no way it would self-center. Was trying to come up with a good way to mark these, and I just used that bolt marking or that nut marking material paint and just slid it back there, and it marked it really well. For a little wiggle room, I went with just a little bit bigger drill, countersunk them, and now we'll see how it fits. I went ahead and made the little template so I can find the hole to drill back there. Got that done. Test fit these with fresh paint on them, and it didn't mark anywhere, so that's clearing now. And upsized these, and first installed this according to the paperwork. Installed that. Made sure it was firmly back. It put this bolt through to make sure that the inside was lined up properly and stayed lined up. Went and counter drilled through these holes into the bottom, marked my drill for the depth so it wouldn't go through, and then I went ahead and drilled these up and reamed them to 6.4 so they'd be super snug, and they fit beautifully, so I'm happy about that. I'm happy about everything. This is an absolute riot. These little tasks, fun. They make it a lot easier than it used to be. I watched a little bit of what other guys used to do, and man, we have to do so much less. It doesn't mean it isn't just as exciting, it's just not as monotonous. I hope if you're planning on doing this, you get the gist from my channel that just the average guy without a whole lot of airplane knowledge, that there is just so much out there that you can log into and get answers from and people to ask questions from. You can figure this thing out. You just gotta stick with it. There are ups and downs. The mistakes, think right out ahead, right the get-go that you're gonna make mistakes and it's gonna cost you money. You kind of put it in your budget and in the back of your mind. Then it's really easy to not try to shortcut. You just go, oh, okay, maybe I could drill that and put rivets between them, but can I buy a new one and just do it so that that option is still open later? Things like that. I'm not saying that's a shortcut, it's not. It's doing it right. It's just leaving your options open if you decide not to do it that way. All right, so let's move on to the next thing. I gotta up drill this and tap these. I'm gonna tap plastic. It's gonna be interesting. Of course I want them in there super snug. Well, we'll see how it goes. Before I drill this, I've never drilled and tapped nylon or plastic before, so I'm going to test drill that and see what that's like. I might have to go down and drill. It seems to be going awfully easy. If I can turn it quite simply with my hand, that was totally doable. Oh, that's quite stout. All right, I'm going down and drill. That was a 7/32. I'm gonna go down to a 13/64. That doesn't want to start as easy. You have to push down some. That's out the bottom. Yeah, that's definitely tighter. Must have pushed back some. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna use. Let's mark our drill. I want to go deep enough for the tap to be able to reach the bottom with no problem and a little past. And the thickness of the metal up the top. Last thing I want to do is bump the bottom and strip it. One down. Wonder if we're supposed to use Loctite on these. Oh no, we're supposed to wire tie them. That's what the little hole in the head's for. Yeah, that one feels even better. The other one I wasn't aggressive enough on pushing down. You got to really push to get it started. This makes it a little confusing. The scrap piece I grabbed had a bunch of holes in it, but I knew they cleared what I was going to use. The little one is in here. These are all in snug. A lot of metal there. Let's see if this one lines up. Yep. And just to prove it, I got those all put in. Not wire tied, of course. And that's done. So onward and upward. All the stuff's off. It's siliconed up so that it's all pressured on there. It's got plenty of play. And it almost returns back with just the preloading I've got on this. The other thing is there's going to be a heavy tire on here. That'll help it center. It'll have wind on the rudder. And at this point, that's where I'm going to leave it. I don't want to preload it any heavier than I am. Of course, from Scott's videos, I've already done some basic modifications The corner back there on this puck, it's hard to see. Maybe I should get a light. I see online a lot of people have a hard time getting the amount of throw on the rudder they want, and I've automatically trimmed that puck back there in the corner, right by that aluminum. I haven't done anything with the aluminum yet. Guy can reach up in there with a die grinder and grind that out if he has to. That little bit right there made this throw so much further, it wasn't funny. That right there was really nice once we trimmed that off both sides. As far as the inside of this one, I've put a little bit of anti-corrosion inside. I tested it on the foam over there on the bench for 24 hours and it didn't do anything to it. And then I put this cap on, and there was a message online about moisture getting in there. Well, nothing's going to get in from anywhere else because it's all solidly welded up and it's foamed. But that top little last 8 inches, I decided to put a, not silicone, I've got this product that I use on roofs of trailers, and it went in all 3 grooves of this plug, and I snapped that in, and I don't expect, it actually sealed it, and I think that's sealed for life now. A guy can, it doesn't harden, so a guy can pop that off for inspection in the future if he wants to. I think that's a good fix for that. The other thing I have to come up with is putting lock nuts on these, and they have to be heat rated. This is inside the engine compartment, and so I don't have any of these yet. It's one of the things I'm going to do when I'm done editing this video, is I'm going to go order up a bunch of different size lock nuts that aren't nylon. I only have some little ones for these 3s in stock. I do have some of these for the 3s, but they're very small. You pretty much have to have a washer on them. They're MS21042-3 is the number for those, and I don't like this style. I want something a little bigger with a bigger base on it. So I'm going to look into that today. The only thing I do is I do want to put this up next. I'll show you which one I'm putting on. So this is one of the next things I'm going to put on. I believe this is for the 701 front ends. So when I ordered this kit, I asked Roger if he could just upsize me to the next size tires for grass strips and stuff like that. And this is what he sent me. So I'm going to get that drilled out soon. The other thing is, in that setup, this is bigger tires and bigger wheels. So this is a 8.00 by 6 4-ply, kind of a little bit of a more balloony tire than what's on the regular CruZer. So if you're getting ready to order one of these, you got to really take in consideration if you're worried about weight, because tires weigh a lot. This probably doesn't weigh that much more than the fork for the CruZer at all, but the tires I'm sure do. And the wheels are upsized too, so I think they go from 5 to 6 inch. So that's a consideration. I've got 2 different types of silicone. One is one that warns you from getting it on your skin, and it's a grease. I don't even want to advertise it. It was stinky as all get out, and it's on there. But I also got that super lube that's good for O-rings. It's a little bit thinner. It runs down in things. If you put a drip along there, it will run through. So that lubricant I really like. It's also good with heat. It's good. It's safe. It says it's food safe, whatever that means. I don't want to ever eat silicone, but there it is. I finally got the wires done after about 4 or 5 tries. I've never done it before. I didn't know a whole lot about it. I read up on it and looked at the construction standards. And of course, one of these bolts had the hole facing right at the bolt in the back. And I found out you can't do it that way, so I had to disassemble again. I've disassembled this front end probably 5 times. And the threads in these blocks are still just great. I really take my time to make sure they're in there correct every time so I don't cross thread them. And what was the other thing about that? Yeah, I had to just cut it. I probably will cut these off again. But it was good practice. It was actually, this is one of the best things about building a plane. You get to research, you gotta read up on things, find out how to do it and poke your hands really bad with the wire. I had one go in my hand about a ½ inch. That was a riot. Once I got this done, I felt good. I got that part of it done. You guys know this better than me. You could probably see on there if I did it right or wrong. But that one, I think it might pass muster. We'll find out. Probably will have to redo it. I was trying to get a shot so that you can see the return value of this. The more you warm it up, the better it gets. But that's where it's at right now. Not bad. Hey, just a quick update on something else in the build is these are the vertical rods that go up and move the flapperons. And what I did is I put the end on here, measured like the book says exactly, I think 700, I forget how many millimeters, but I did it all ahead of time. So I cut quite a bit off that bolt. To get my system level in the back, these wouldn't work. They need to be that little bit. So don't cut yours until you are actually doing it. Don't look at the book. That everything changes on these. I found out that I went online and I ordered these off the number in my book, and these are even shorter yet. So don't do that. Call them and find out. I found out that my airplane is changed up. It's a 5th generation. They didn't explain it. They just said that these changed in how the system was put together, and I've got a brand new set of these coming so that I can leave that ½ inch there. I cut off that bolt, and then they'll work fine. But the preliminary measurements were these were too short. I could have adjusted everything out to where it was almost out of that little visual hole, and could have maybe made it work, but I wouldn't have been happy with that. I want them with extra. I don't want them in really close to that little hole. And I had to take the mixers on the sides and tip them up to get that extra distance, and I want them level. So just a little word, if you're having any thoughts of cutting these before you actually know your length. I kind of apologize for not having much done, but this was quite a bit of work. And I'm really glad I got it this far, and now I get to play around with getting that on there, and then maybe even the next, it might be the main gear. Hey, thanks a lot for coming along on this one. If you like this one, please like it. If you want to see more of where this plane's going, please subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. I better get a measuring tape out and get the center marked on that first.